after an 0-5 start, and the Alouettes return for the first time to the scene of their Grey Cup glory, but a different quarterback is calling the shots tonight for the red, white, and blue. Marshall Ferguson, Dwayne Ford, Matthew Shinetti at field level for us here throughout the evening at Tim Hortons Field. Davis Alexander, extremely impressive, 15 of 18 in relief duty last week. He's got to do it again here tonight against the Ticats.
Yeah, and I think the thing you have to love about it was him being thrown into the fire, completing his first 12 passes in that ball game, definitely showing he was prepared, he was ready. I think he'll be the same with a full week of preparation for this one. Certainly interesting to watch. Obviously over on the other sideline, polar opposite. Bo Levi Mitchell, a guy with plenty of experience in this league. He's enjoyed a bounce-back season so far in Hamilton. Bo Levi Mitchell over 300 yards 5 times already in 2024.
Bo Levi Mitchell, Davis Alexander, head-to-head against each other. Looking forward to it as the flyover here for Captain Isaac Bates out of Hamilton and CFB Trenton. We're underway in week number 9 here in Hamilton, Montreal, against the Tiger Cats as it'll be returned out to the 27-yard line. And out comes Bo Levi Mitchell. Extremely impressive. 5 touchdown passes, of course, in that game against Edmonton last week.
Yeah, as mentioned, it's been a bounce-back year, and you heard the panel talk about it in the pregame. The rebuilding of Bo Levi Mitchell that has gone on under Scott Milanovich has certainly been a success story regardless of Hamilton's record so far this season. It's starting to pay some dividends in the last 2 games, back-to-back wins for the Black and Gold.
Love Bo saying he's ready to go after this extremely talented Montreal defense. He will throw on his first play of the game and drops it in over the top of the expanding linebackers. That will be Shamar Bridges making the grab and moving the sticks on first down.
Shamar Bridges, popular target for Mitchell in the early going this season. Big body, working on the outside, frequently playing into the boundary.
Bo starts 1 of 1 in this game. Tighten it down this time and try the pitch into the boundary, cutting it back, getting upfield and running hard. It'll be James Butler for another Hamilton first down. Pounding the rocks up, and they said they want to do is trying to get the wheels turning in this ground game. And they actually think that they might have enough bodies up front to be able to move Montreal consistently here tonight, Dwayne.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a storyline as we see Butler on the toss, this offset toss where he gets a little bit of a jump start on the defense. You see Isaac Adeyemi Berglund trying to chase that one down.
4 receivers to the left of Mitchell. They'll set up a screen, come back to the right. Is now into the backfield. It'll be a tackle for loss. Behind the play, Butler brought down and trying to get him into the flow early after a 21-carry, 98-yard effort against Edmonton.
And just a great job here tracking by Tyrese Beverett. Actually lining up at his weak side linebacker position this time. He's going to move around in that defense, but recognizes it, beats the block. And make a play for a loss.
Mitchell checks it down underneath on 2nd and 12. DeAndre Smith trying to make a move, almost got tackled towards the first down marker. Looks like he'll be just shy. And what do they want to do aggressively right now as Milanovich already eyes down on the play call sheet. It looks like they'll go for it.
Well, it looks like a pretty full 2 here, so it will not be Ante Litre and the short yardage team. Bo Mitchell staying on.
And Butler stays in the backfield with Mitchell. Montreal shows a pressure look up front. Snap comes to Mitchell. Looking into a window, throws in behind. Luther Hakanavanu, incomplete. Turnover on downs.
And there absolutely was a window. Throw was just a little bit behind the intended target, Hakanavanu. Diving effort, the receiver unable to come up with that one. Bo knows it's a missed opportunity.
It was interesting, wasn't it, Dwayne, this week to hear Bo talk about liking bigger receivers, catch radius, big windows. He said it's just something naturally he's always adapted to. Missed on that one, but enjoys being able to have Hakanavano come with him from Calgary here to Hamilton as Davis Alexander in his first career start begins with a fake pitch, tosses it to the wide side, and Cole Speaker gets on the stat sheet to begin as Alexander, after a stellar relief effort last week, comes here to Hamilton and will face the noise and the black and gold defense.
Yeah, Davis Alexander, the pride of Gig Harbor, Washington. 18 pass attempts last week. Previously in his CFL career, only 21 pass attempts, so obviously by far the busiest evening of his career, and he made the most of it, completing his first 12 right out of the gate before finishing up 15 of 18.
Most passing yards off the bench by a Montreal passer since Trevor Harris had 270 in 2022 in relief. See if he can match that here this evening. Begins 1 of 1, but trying to convert on second down. Checks it down underneath. Walter Fletcher makes so many grabs for the Alouettes, but Kyle Wilson right there to wrap him up, and it'll be the punting unit for the Alouettes. 2 and out to begin.
Well, Ticats do a good job of not letting Montreal get off to a hot start here, as Davis had that great momentum going in his relief appearance last week. Good tackling in space. Recognizing Montreal's game plan as anticipated. Again, you heard the discussion about it in the pregame show. High percentage passes, screens, etc. Cats there to make tackles, not allow those yards after the catch.
Joseph Zeman, the punting unit, struggling a little bit this season, just 34.5 yards net. That's 7th in the CFL. They do a good job covering this one, though, after a 48-yard punt. Bring down Hamilton in the return game. Bo Levi Mitchell running the show here for the Tigers for Bo Levi Mitchell against Edmonton last week. 5 touchdown passes, and look at this, the distance between SMU and the Tiger Cats with 5 touchdown performances. Oh, your casual 16 years.
Yeah, pretty good run in between for Mr. Mitchell, however, but yeah, the Cats certainly put on a little bit of an air show last week in Edmonton.
Ray Ford stormed back in that one, but the damage was done by Bo Levi Mitchell and his receivers as they began with a turnover on downs. They go back to the ground game here. And a nice little piece by James Butler as we look at Butler and the rest of the Hamilton starting offense.
And on that offensive line, Jordan Murray makes his second start of the season at right tackle. We hear Joel Figueroa getting close to coming back, bringing a little more experience to that offensive line soon. Luther Hakanavano, big touchdown last week. In fact, touchdowns in 3 in a row for the former York Lions receiver.
Bo Levi Mitchell looks downfield, crossing route, and finds Hakanavano on the spot. He reaches out. They'll spot it at about the 31-yard line. First down Hamilton, and the 27-year-old continues to be the hot hand for Bo Levi Mitchell.
And good protection so far. You see clean pocket for Bo, untouched, plenty of time to lay that one into Luther in tight coverage.
It does give you that length, especially on those crossing routes, trying to separate from this extremely talented Montreal linebacking core. Darnell Sankey, Bryce Cosby, Tyrese Beverett. On 1st and 10, little pressure look. Bo stares it down, gets it out of his hands quickly. And that's complete to the big body, Giovanni Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson, college basketball player turned tight end. Getting some looks the last couple of weeks for these Tiger Cats. Had a touchdown last week in Edmonton. First of his Canadian Football League career.
And Robinson, heck of a player. You can tell the pure athleticism and natural hands that he has as they'll send out the sticks. And take a look at this one after the Robinson catch.
Yeah, Giovanni is a guy who actually played pro basketball in Italy after his college career. Hadn't played football since high school.
First down. You played pro ball in Italy for a little while, didn't you?
I turned down the opportunity.
You did, yeah. Contract was on the table. You said, yeah, stamps, pro ball in Italy.
Yeah. Thought I'd have a chance to get back later in my career, but...
Never called?
Never called.
Never called. So they do pick up the first down. Hamilton at their own 42. Oh, blitz coming from the boundary. Bo caught him. And now he looks over to the field side and says, you guys are one-on-one. What do we want to do? Resets the play. Butler bounces out. Bo looks, field comes back, and the free man flying off the edge. Looks like that was Wesley Sutton. Got home to knock it down.
And this is something Wesley Sutton has done so well for the Alouettes over the last couple of years, getting involved in that blitz package. Along the defensive line, Avery Ellis providing some experience, coming off a 2-sack game, had his first 2 of the season last week against Saskatchewan. Tyrese Beverett, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, continues to be one of the league's most productive defenders. Najee Murray leading that secondary in tackles from his field halfback position.
That defense high in so many statistical categories because they make plays just like that. Cosby comes down on Shamar Bridges and tackles him well short of the yardage to go. And this one will be a task too far to ask for the third down risk, and they'll send out the punting unit.
Yeah, a combination of obviously longer distance to go and a little bit different field position on their own side of center here. Looking for Nick Constantinou, averaging over 51 yards a punt so far this season to try and shift this field position battle a little bit in their favor.
Yeah, the Hamilton club record set by Joe Zuger in 71. 48.5 yards, and Constantino crushing that. This one goes extremely high, but not all that far as James Fletcher Jr. turns the corner after a 38-yard punt, and it'll be the long snapper, Gordon White, getting down there and making the play as Davis Alexander and the Montreal offense back out onto the field. 15 in the last 17 years for Alouettes quarterbacks. Look at that move! Down underneath, readjust the helmet, find your receiver. Finds Tyson Philpott. How many great off-script plays did he make in this game at home? You could literally feel, sitting on your couch at home, the tide just shifting towards Montreal in this game.
Yeah, from the moment Alexander came in, you got a sense not only that he had that poise, that confidence about him, but that those around him were also feeling a sense of confidence.
Leads by example and through his actions as they get the ball into the hands of Tyson Philpott as the Alouettes offense leading receiver, now his 52nd catch on the season.
And we'll take a look at the rest of this Montreal Alouettes offense. O-line that has been solid. Nick Callender holding down that always important left tackle spot. And among the skill guys, Walter Fletcher. Been obviously very important to their success, not just carrying the football, but leading all CFL running backs in receiving so far.
If anybody has a chance to have a conversation with Walter Fletcher, do it. The more interesting and fun to speak to players in the CFL is Usher flies in from his defensive end spot and stops shy of the first down marker, but it is very close. And thinking about it, they'll bring out Caleb Evans. So he might not be the starter here tonight, but Evans will still run the short yardage package, and they'll go on third.
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer for the Montreal Alouettes, given that it appears they need a little bit less than a yard.
21 carries on the year for Caleb Evans. A trio of touchdowns, but just wants a yard here. They'll plunge forward to the left-hand side of that offensive line. Follows Pierre-Olivier Lestage in his third year at the University of Montreal and picks up the first down. As the Hamilton defense couldn't get a stop there, and they've been struggling to get stops at various points throughout the year, giving up a ton of points in their first 5 losses.
You mentioned the name Nick Usher moments ago. Usher leading the team in tackles for loss, still looking for his first sack of 2024. Jonathan Moxey, longtime corner in Calgary, settling in at that nickel linebacker spot. Rob Panabaker, a 2023 draftee, but it is making his second consecutive start at free safety.
Yeah, they'll have to come downhill here on the run game. There's a nice piece on first down. Right between the tackles goes Walter Fletcher. And I mentioned this defense gave up 30-plus points in 4 of their first 5 games, and Montreal will put up a lot of points if that man's turning the wheels like this.
Yeah, and Fletcher, of course, taking over the starting job here in Montreal this season, with William Stanback moving west to the BC Lions. Obviously giving them a little bit of a different look offensively.
They can bounce him out here and use him in all situations as they go with a fake run to the inside. Now on the run to the sideline, it is Fletcher. He'll be brought down by Trevor Hoyt. But yeah, Fletcher being used against any linebacker, any situation, any down and distance, run, pass, doesn't matter. They just love his versatility.
Yeah, this is it, as you said, getting him out of the backfield here. Antwi coming in to hold down that spot. Fletcher looking to move out as a slot, get a little bit of a mismatch on a linebacker, trying to cover this water bug of a running back.
Well split. Reggie White Jr. out to the bottom of your screen. And once again, Antwi bounces in. Fletcher bounces out. Different look here from the Alouettes we haven't seen this season as Alexander with pressure on. Ball is out. It's on the turf rolling around. Alexander lost his helmet. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats for now have picked up the football. A rare turnover for the Alouettes. They've been so good this season. A +6 turnover ratio, second to only Saskatchewan.
A little bit of adversity for the young quarterback in the early going here as the Tiger Cats get to him for the sack and the turnover.
8 turnovers so far this season. This is their 5th fumble recovered as Davis Alexander lost the handle and Trevor Hoyt comes up with it.
Yeah, and the Tiger Cats, as you see Pierre-Olivier Lestage with a shot at that one before Hoyt gets to it, but the Cats counting on their defensive line to set the tone. They've completely made that group over in the offseason. Dwayne Hendricks paying quick dividends there.
And off inside, James Butler. Gain of a couple. There's the bottom of the pile there. Looks like Mustafa Johnson alongside Dylan Wynn as they recognized a couple former Tiger Cats here during the first commercial break this evening. As it was Dylan Wynn and Sean Thomas Erlington who were both part of a couple of Grey Cup losses in black and gold.
Yeah, great to see Dylan Wynn healthy again after battling injuries the last couple of seasons, last year in particular. A guy that Noel Thorpe certainly targeted in free agency, felt he would be a great fit in this Alouette defense.
First time playing against his old club, spent 4 years in Hamilton. Sean Thomas Erlington, 5 here with the Tiger Cats. As Bo Levi Mitchell, quick throw out of his hand. Keandre Smith makes the grab. And Keandre told us this week, Dwayne, doesn't matter what the game is, he'll find a way to win. And even if he's losing, he'll cheat if he's got to win. He'll just refuses to lose, and here's his route.
Ever since he was a kid coming out of the slot. Catch number 85 in motion. Just a speed out, timing route. Nice connection there for the first down between he and his veteran quarterback.
All-star matchup right there. Bo Levi Mitchell to Keandre Smith with Wesley Sutton hot in pursuit. On 1st and 10, Bo, play action, pressure on, and he'll go down. Flying into the backfield, Tyrese Beverett adds his 2nd sack of the campaign.
On Tyrese Beverett, we mentioned he'll move around a little bit in this defense. This time he's in the middle. Darnell Sankey moves to the edge. Beverett's going to loop right. Beats the center, David Beard, around the horn. Get to Bo Levi Mitchell for the sack.
Hard count from Mitchell there. Caught Dylan Wynn out of his stance. Now Wynn digs back in. On 2nd and 16, Mitchell over the middle. Tim White grabs it, tries to stay on his feet. And it's tough to do that when Darnell Sankey gives you a pop over the middle of the field.
Well, Darnell Sankey wants to talk a little bit about that hit. Here you'll see Tim White bringing it underneath. Good awareness. He knew Sankey was coming, so he didn't take that hit clean on. He's given up a few pounds in that matchup.
Oh, we saw the second 60-yarder of the season for Sergio Castillo last night in Winnipeg's shutout victory over the BC Lions. This one's going to come from right around the 50-yard line for Mark Leggio as a flag is out. And will that back Hamilton out of field goal range?
Yeah, someone on the left side of that offensive line definitely came out of their stance.
Illegal procedure. Hamilton number 53. 5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
They'll get Brendan Bordner out of Florida Atlantic. The left tackle was moving out of his stance, and that will take the field goal unit off the field, and Milanovic immediately wants to look at it.
Yeah, keep an eye. Left side of that offensive line. See him pop up, go back down.
Some gamesmanship there from the Alouettes. I think they twitched a little and were able to get Bordner to jump, but it will cost potential points off the board for the Tiger Cats. So James Letcher Jr. Wrapped up and thrown. Staying on his feet. Was that Tyler Ternowski downfield again? He made a huge play in the Edmonton game on specials. Free running down the field as the former Waterloo Warrior in his 4th year continues to make an impact on specials.
Matt Alexander played rugby in South Africa, then in England, and then settled, as you said, Dwayne, in Gig Harbor, Washington. And he taught his son Little League, and I watched today as Davis Alexander was talking to his father before pregame, and maybe as he deals with the first bit of adversity he's having in his first start, that message from father to son rings true. What does Matt Alexander say to his boy? Well, be safe, be smart, be responsible, and always remember, it's not on you. Marsh.
Love it, Matthew. Yeah, he described his dad as a warrior to us, and thinking about Davis's father, Matt, and the entire Alexander family is no doubt people from all over, from Gig Harbor to Portland State and beyond, watching and cheering for the Montreal starting quarterback tonight with Cody Fajardo still out of the lineup. Although off the 6-game injured list earlier this week, Jezrin Antwi gets a carry through the middle there. Kyle Wilson makes the tackle, and that will do it for the first quarter of play. Scoreless here in Hamilton between a couple of teams that have the exact same number of points on the board. Second best in the CFL for each of them at 27.9 each. We'll see what they have in store in the second quarter when we return to Hamilton. The score, but it's been an interesting one back and forth, Dwayne, and certainly the defenses, despite the fact that Hamilton has struggled a lot more than Montreal throughout the early part of the season, both making great plays. Yeah, absolutely. They've done Hamilton's defensive line doing a pretty good job controlling things at the line of scrimmage, creating a little bit of adversity for a young quarterback making his first start. Davis Alexander finding his way, and of course that Montreal defense always a little bit of a storm of chaos for opposing offenses to try and sort out. Interesting. Davis Alexander in that performance against Sask last week ended up having 0 attempts between 10 and 19 yards down the field. It was all quick release underneath or bombs over the top. By the way, he was 3 of 4 on throws of 20 yards or more down the field. What will he do here on second down? He goes to that intermediate range, intercepted. It's George Jr. cutting back towards the goal line. Touchdown. Pick 6. Hamilton's defense, which has struggled to get interceptions, the least in the CFL, just 2 coming in, have their 3rd of the year, and it goes for a major. One of the things that Davis Alexander did very well last week against Saskatchewan was avoiding trying to force plays, avoiding trying to do too much. Here, trying to get things going, looks like he's just trying to force a ball in to way too tight a window to Cole Speaker. Kenneth George Jr. on the spot with the coverage, comes up with the interception, makes Alexander pay for that mistake in a big way. And the turnover ratio I mentioned for the Alouettes, +6 coming into this game, second to only Saskatchewan. There's only 2 teams in the positive. It's Montreal and Saskatchewan. Well, all of a sudden, a fumble that's recovered after a Davis Alexander bobble in the backfield in the first quarter, and we begin the second quarter with an interception. It goes for a touchdown. Come on, brother.
Upon review, the ruling in the field stands. Touchdown.
Come on, man. Kenneth George Jr. in his second year at Tennessee makes the play, and Hamilton takes the lead.
Guy, you the greatest. Good.
Legio knocks through the extra point. There is a flag down on the play, and I think that's going to be running right through the long snapper, as it looks like potentially Dylan Wynn was trying to set the tone, send a message, and Gordon White, you see there, that already had a special teams tackle, turned around and clapped at Wynn as he made his way off the field. And Byron Archimo, the special teams coordinator for the Alouettes, has a conversation with him.
Archambault. Former Hamilton Tiger Cat draft pick. Actually, second rounder back in 2015. Fantastic linebacker. From Montreal Alouettes in his day.
You see the plethora of titles he has to his name there as well. Director of Player Personnel on top of assistant head coach and special teams coordinator. He is a busy man. Yeah.
On the previous play, we had an illegal block, ends to the face by Montreal number 98. By rule, that foul cannot be applied. The convert is good. We'll have the kickoff.
Dylan Wynn found the back door.
The always cagey Dylan Wynn.
Doesn't carry to the kickoff, but here's another look at the interception and the touchdown for Kenneth George Jr.
Yeah, and here's your matchup. Cole Speaker, the receiver. Kenneth George Jr. playing at that field halfback position this season. You'll see Speaker goes down, but that's irrelevant to where the ball was thrown, quite frankly. George had that inside position on him. The ball is a little bit inside. Tight coverage on the play. Whether Speaker's up or not, George is making a play on this ball.
Yeah, what a great job to break the arm tackle as well of Walter Fletcher. Tried to bring him down in the open field. There's Tyler Turnowski. Didn't give enough love on that last special teams coverage attempt, and man, the coverage units for the Tiger Cats, Dwayne, have been something.
Yeah, well, it powered a lot, quite frankly, by offensive guys as opposed to defensive players, and particularly designated imports on the defensive side of the ball. Turnowski leading the team in special teams tackles.
Down the field once again they go as James Tuck, the fullback, will be one of about 3 or 4 Tiger Cats to get there, but they are in a mood tonight covering down the kicks for the Tiger Cats. And Davis Alexander, one of the hardest things to do in all of professional sports. Your first professional start, you throw a pick six and you're immediately back on the field.
Yeah, and this is it. And this is one of the things, though, that in an odd way, when you're the Montreal Alouettes, you want to see him have a little bit of adversity because you want to see how he responds to that. That's part of the evaluation. It's great that everything went well last week, and you love that, but you knew that there were going to be ups and downs with a young quarterback along the way.
David Dallaire, the fullback, is in as they'll fake a little jet sweep, and now Alexander has the pump, running for his life away from Casey Sales, heads to the sideline, and steps out of bounds. As the Alouettes trying to extend their winning streak here on the road in Hamilton, and it's been pretty special what they've been able to accomplish as of late.
Yeah, you look where this current road win streak ranks all time for the Alouettes, looking to match that Anthony Calvillo powered 2002-2003 streak. The heyday of the Don Matthews.
Alexander against a 3-man rush on second and long, loads this one up for Tyson Philpott, over the top, incomplete. Walter Fletcher told us this week he thinks Alexander has the strongest arm he's seen in the Canadian Football League. And that time on full display, but just missing a little bit of touch to drop it into 6.
Yeah, Philpott just trying to get that outside release and go. Nearly in behind Richard Leonard, but unable to catch up to that bomb from Alexander, who said this is usually the first thing that people notice about him in the world of football is the strength of his arm.
Well, we were down on the field during warm-ups. I said to General Manager Denny Machocha, can you tell Davis to stop throwing 60-yarders in warm-up? Save that thing, but just a little off the mark that time as Zima kicks it away. Beautiful high spiraling boot all the way back to the 24-yard line. And a 54-yard punt, but a solid return back the other direction for Hamilton and Devon Harris as Bo Levi Mitchell. The defense got him to stop here. Who's that guy? Catch the Elks going up against the Rough Riders tomorrow, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN. If you don't watch Trey Ford play quarterback, you're un-Canadian.
Is that the word on the street?
It's my personal opinion. I'm just going to throw it out there. super excited to see Trey in action. How about Tyrell getting
I was going to say, tough act to follow just to be the family star of the week after Tyrell's performance last night. And, of course, giving credence to my belief that every game is better when there's a Ford involved.
If we don't get Tyrell picking off Trey at some point this year, it hasn't been a CFL season. We need that. So we get an inside handoff once again. James Butler churning the legs forward and getting as much as he possibly can on first down for a Tiger Cats offense that struggled to set themselves up with second and manageable.
Yeah, some flashes on their opening drive. That one stalled with a turnover on downs. So they went for it on a 3rd and 2 just inside Alouettes territory. But yeah, as you said, unable to get much traction since then.
Levi Mitchell, a little hurry up and wait at the line of scrimmage here. Tim White crosses face as he'll fake the inside run, gets it out to White, turns around, gets up the field, needed to get to the 46-yard line, and all the way to the 50 he goes. First down, Hamilton.
Good recognition by Bo Levi Mitchell. Nice effort after the catch by Tim White as he takes a little contact. You see them slip him behind the line of scrimmage there to try and shake coverage. Runs through would-be Najee Murray shoestring tackle, much to the delight of Simone Lawrence on the sidelines.
Caught that, huh? Najee Murray flying upfield from his field halfback position, although all these DBs play everywhere in this secondary. Confusing for Bo, as this time Butler, it looked like he had a head of steam going, and all of a sudden Darnell Sankey showed up on the spot and held it to a gain of about 5.
Darnell Sankey has a way of stopping other people's momentum. Middle linebacker on the very left side of your screen. Once again, linebackers moving around. Jeffrey Canton-Arcou, the fine Alouettes rookie, first-round pick, playing in the middle on that one.
I wouldn't want to be Keandre Smith in a one-on-one blocking situation either. Snap comes up to Bo. Deep drop, he's got all day. Looks down the field, pointing, waiting, 3-man rush. They blocked it up for him, and then he skips it into the turf. That's one of those hard to believe you can't find somebody open with that amount of time, but they dropped 9 out in coverage, Dwayne.
Yeah, this is it. Absolutely blanketing the field in terms of coverage. You'll see Bo counting steamboats on this one. Got to about 6. Not a lot of open windows versus that 3-man rush.
And Dylan Wynn was slow to get up off the turf. One of those defensive linemen that got planted. Just walked off as Constantino barely gets the handle on this kick. Another beautiful high spiraling kick, but it'll go out of bounds. And how far will they walk up the sideline on this one? Straight out of bounds. The flag comes out. And a decent starting field position for Davis Alexander and the Montreal Alouettes offense. Montreal leading the league with 18 long gainer plays on offense. They average about 3.5 per game. Number 1 in the CFL.
The episode comes out, but anyone wondering where Rod Smith is this weekend, he's actually competing as a Ninja Warrior.
An American Ninja Warrior specialist.
Yes.
Rod Smith. Yeah. Davis Alexander and the Alouettes offense. They spotted the ball at the 30 after the illegal kick out of bounds. As it looks like Walter Fletcher gets the touch, moving him around in that backfield, close to another first down. Yes, they'll give it to him just across the 40-yard line, so a 10-yard rush for Walter Fletcher, but a little bit more motion. They've layered on some different things in the backfield here for Fletcher and Antwi tonight, Dwayne.
Yeah, try and create a little bit of misdirection. We saw that Antwi carry with Fletcher in the slot at the end of the first quarter. That you got to think is largely about being a bit of a key breaker, right? Keep the defense honest so they don't think they know that it's only going to be passed, for example, when Antwi comes into the backfield and Fletcher splits out.
Blitz on from the Tiger Cats. They go to the wide side this time. It is complete. And rolling out of bounds, that'll be Charleston Rambo with his 22nd catch of the season. Nice ball placement from Davis Alexander for a gain of 6.
Yeah, and Rambo getting a little bit more involved in this offense in recent weeks. I think a little more opportunity there to be had in the absence of Keon Julian Grant.
There's a little Miami battle going on there. Richard Leonard out of FIU, Rambo from the U. The Hurricanes going one-on-one here in Week 9 in the CFL. Davis Alexander out of Portland State steps up, pressure on, skips away from it, looks down the field and rips one to the sideline. And there's the frozen rope that we've been hearing about. Tyson Philpott on the receiving end.
Yeah, this is shades of last week for Davis Alexander, escaping pressure. Keeping those eyes downfield. You see his strength there, fighting off big Dwayne Hendricks on the tackle to find Philpott.
Alexander now on an outbreaking route. Reggie White Jr. hauls it in. And all of a sudden, not only is Davis Alexander into a rhythm, but you can tell Jason Moss calling things in with his offensive coaching staff. They are rolling down the field.
Yeah, and whether it's been by design or by virtue of the quarterback being flush from the pocket, Alexander back-to-back throws looking pretty good on the move here, and it'll be interesting to see if the Alouettes continue to sprinkle a little bit more of that into their play calling.
And something we haven't seen so far this year from the Alouettes is back the three-back set. Sean Thomas Erlington, Jesuit Antwi, Walter Fletcher all in the game, and they'll hand it off inside. A bit of a base look that time from the Ticats defense, but they stack it up.
Oh, first-year middle linebacker DQ Thomas. He's going to step up and make a play on this one. Unblocked man at second level. He makes the most of the opportunity. 20 versus 20 in the hole.
And now an equipment issue for DQ Thomas. Looks like his helmet was worse for wear after stepping into the hole. So they'll sort that out. Quick substitution. Trevor Hoyt out of Carleton comes off the sideline already with a fumble recovery in this football game. And Davis Alexander goes over things with Jason Moss. They've done a lot of that on the sidelines, but usually it's when Cody Fajardo was the one with the helmet on.
That's right.
Alexander into the huddle. 2nd and 8 with 8:08 remaining in this first half. Crowd into it at Tim Hortons Field. Hamilton rushes 4. Alexander looks over the top to Charleston. Rambo! Touchdown Alouettes! In between coverage, Davis Alexander to Charleston Rambo. And the Alouettes even things out after the extra point.
And the thing you've got to like about this throw, go back to the interception where Davis Alexander maybe got a little too aggressive trying to force the ball into a window. You wonder, okay, well, how's he going to respond to adversity? He's been sacked. He's had a fumble in this game. He's had an interception in this game. Fearless. Yeah. Confidence clearly not affected for him to go out and deliver that throw in that situation. Strike for the Alouettes' first touchdown of the game.
2nd touchdown of the season for Charleston Rambo. As Jose Maltos comes out to kick the extra point. It is good. 7-7. Matchup between the 2-5 Ticats and the 6-1 Alouettes. What a beautiful ball over the top of Moxie, and Rambo makes the play on Richard Leonard. We're all even in the hammer. 6 plays, 80 yards in under 3 minutes, and down the field, the Alouettes offense went, powered by Davis Alexander, making plays with his feet and a couple of real nice balls that he put in the perfect spot.
Yeah, and you mentioned using his feet, moving the pocket a little bit, getting the ground game involved, keeping that defense off balance, and then the strike. Terrific catch there by Charleston Rambo to go up and get it.
All even here in Hamilton as the Alouettes send it away. Harris from his own 13-yard line crosses up to the 33, about a 20-yard kickoff return. As the Guelph Griffins, not far from here, of course, Hamilton once called Guelph home. And there's 3 great receivers in the league right now. With more, let's go down to Matthew Shinetti.
Yeah, that's Clark Barnes, Kean Schaefer-Baker, and Keandre Smith is playing for the Hamilton Tiger Cats tonight, Marshall. And the one thing that's really keeping them all together is a text chain that they've been having ever since they've been at Guelph. A lot of love, a lot of mental health check-in. There's so much connection between their families. We talked to Keandre Smith about this. He and Kean Schaefer-Baker's mothers especially have a strong connection. But I did ask him a little bit if there's any trash talk, knowing that Keandre Smith this year has 5 touchdowns, with matches Kean Schaefer-Baker's total of 5 touchdowns back from 2022. He did tell us that there was trash talking at Guelph. But I asked Keandre if you're going to trash talk and if those totals get up and up and up, and he said, quite honestly, I don't have to. Well, I know that Kean, when he gets back from injury, will have his numbers up. There's going to be a lot of competition. I don't have to talk. We just show each other what we got.
I think they're all taking turns. Matthew, thank you. It's great background. I love what Keandre said this week. Where you're from, where you're born, does not determine how good you are at football. Like, plain and simple, you put that stamp on whether it's Nathan Rourke, Trey Ford, any position that you don't think of as being Canadian, you simplify it to that from Keandre Smith, he gets it. There's an inside handoff on 2nd and 2. They thought they could get it with Butler. As Mustafa Johnson pushing match in the backfield. We'll see where they spot the football here. As Andre Prue, the referee, takes a look, and will signal 3rd down and a yard to go, and out comes Taylor Powell and Ante Litre, the short yardage package.
Scott Milanovic sending in the calls. And Cats about a yard here, going after it in their own territory.
Litre takes the snap, rolls to his right side, didn't get a whole lot, needed the full yard as they're trying to get this crowd back into the game. The offense sputtering, the only points on the board, the pick 6 from Kenneth George Jr. There's now more pushing and shoving between these 2 East Division foes. Montreal ending Hamilton's last couple of seasons, a 7-game Alouettes winning streak. And Kabian Ento and Darnell Sankey believe they got the stop, but they'll give the first down. And Litre does his job, gets just enough, and the Tiger Cats drive continues.
Litre didn't need a lot, as you can see right down the line. And it looks like he's got it. You see the lean and stretch from the Ticat running back.
Levi Mitchell out of his hands quickly to the fullback. James Tuck puts his shoulder down, ball's on the turf. They whistle it dead. That looked like it was out before the play was done. As Najee Murray has it in his hands, and the Alouettes sideline believes that Tuck just dropped the rock on the ground.
Yeah, here we'll take a closer look at the collision. And that ball's out before he goes down.
And a clear recovery. Wesley Sutton right there alongside Najee Murray. So Tuck rarely used in the passing attack, but Levi Mitchell slipped it down to him. And you can see the Alouettes sideline.
Yeah, and it's just one of those small details for James Tuck. He's got the ball in his inside arm.
The ruling on the field is the ball carrier is down with contact.
Well, we certainly know that that's not the case, so expect they'll get this corrected quickly.
But in any case, Tuck carrying the ball in his left arm, his inside arm, leading with that ball into contact. Thus raising the risk of the turnover in exactly this situation. If he gets that in his outside arm, the right arm, it's away from the oncoming tackler.
Yeah.
There you see the ball is out. As Tuck is airborne.
And Sutton stood up immediately and was campaigning as the discussion goes on with Andre Prue and Jason Moss. And I would assume the frustration here is, do we actually have to challenge this?
downward contact, and there was no immediate recovery by Montreal.
Yeah, 0 for 2.
What more do you need for a clear fucking recovery?
So here you'll see the ball carrier A is not down by contact, and B, I don't know how much more immediate the recovery could be.
I guess, based on the wording of it, because it bounced off the leg of an Alouette and he didn't recover it as the first person it touched, then therefore it's not a clear and immediate recovery, but yeah. Well, Hamilton dodges a bullet on that one, as what should have obviously been a turnover remains their possession. They'll play 1st and 10 from just on their side of the field. Check down, Butler, and a gain of 3.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
Levi Mitchell in the Tiger Cats offense. He's 12 of 15 right now, nearing the 100-yard mark. So he's been racking up the 300-yard performances throughout the season. On 2nd and 7, Bo rolls to his right, looks across his body, up in the air, and it will be incomplete.
Don't fucking do that shit!
Almost across his body and intercepted. Bryce Cosby was the closest man.
A dangerous throw here from the veteran quarterback. You see Tim White working his way across the field as the quarterback's flush from the pocket. Bo across his body into traffic. Very fortunate for the 2nd time on this drive to avoid a Ticat turnover.
Milanovic was talking this week about slow starts with Bo, but he said there's just some things we've tried to get out of him. We don't want him to do anymore, and that's certainly one of them, putting the ball in a dangerous spot. You can push it vertically when you get the opportunity, but you don't have to force it into a tough spot like that. He gets away with it, and Montreal will return, trying to head for the field. Nice cutback after a 38-yard punt. James Letcher Jr. all the way out to the 24-yard line. And Carthel Flowers Lloyd, little slow back up onto his feet alongside Siriman Bagayogo.
James Letcher still trying to get things going after the hot streak on which he ended last season. Looking a little more Tyler Turnowski. The veteran receiver turned special teams demon. Good battle there between he and Titus Wall. Tyler Turnowski, Trey Ford's favorite target.
Yep.
The University of Waterloo.
2018, the crazy stat year for Trey Ford. You go back and you look at Tyler and what he was doing that year, it is special stuff from Chris Bertoya and the Waterloo Warriors program. Tyler has adapted well to the special teams life, and Dennis McKnight certainly appreciates the effort across the board from his group. No changes to either roster from last week's game. Here tonight between Montreal and Hamilton, Davis Alexander steps in, checks it down, and rolling forward before Kyle Wilson and DQ Thomas bring him down. That looks like that will be, number 82. Who's that guy wearing Montreal red, white, and blue?
Yeah, Nate Bahar making his way east after spending the last few seasons as an Ottawa Red Black.
He only had one option to go further east.
That's it. For now. Hey, for now.
Yeah, for now. When I saw Nate get signed by Montreal, I thought, what's he doing? I thought he was a lifer in Ottawa. I talked to pregame. He basically just said, I just want to have fun. I love football.
And an opportunity here for the former Carleton University star with Julian Grant on the injured list.
Alexander, pressure on, down he goes. And this Hamilton defensive line starting to set the tone. Casey Sales will get credit for it. It'll be the 16th sack of the season for Hamilton.
16th for the team, 4th for Casey Sales. Hamilton team that completely made over that defensive line in the offseason.
Casey Sales, the engine that runs throughout this group. Hendricks up front, Nick Usher, Barlow looping in, but Sales gets home to Davis Alexander.
Yeah, right. What happened with that fumble?
Oh, unbelievable.
In any event, we're waiting for the offenses to get going here, but it's all tied up as we send you back to Marshall and Dwayne in the Hammer.
Thank you, Laura. Welcome back, everyone, as we are inside the 3-minute warning, and Joseph Zima set to send this one away after the Casey Sales sack. Wayne mentioned his 4th of the year. Driving force behind their push on the pocket against the Alouettes here tonight in week number 9 as Zima sends it away. Von Harris waits back at his own 36-yard line. 53-yard punt wrapped up and brought down after a return of about 7. And Casey Sales, after the sack, you might have noticed this, there's a reason he's rocking the baby to sleep. Well, he's going to be doing a lot of that with more Matthew Shinetti.
The rocking the baby celebration for Barrett Nelson Sales. And it's funny, Marshall, because yesterday I was talking to Casey Sales right outside the Ticats locker room, and he told me he and his wife Katie were expecting their son on the 22nd of August, which would also be their anniversary. And then a few hours after I spoke to Casey, his wife went into labor. And yes, Katie and young Barrett are doing quite well. And now the young boy, well, he's got a sack to his name, Marshall.
Congratulations to Katie and Casey. And of course, Barrett, welcome to the CFL family as Bo Levi Mitchell gets it out of his hands. Keandre Smith refuses to go down, sneaks an extra yard or 2. As the Keandre Smith trend continues with the Hamilton passing attack.
Keandre Smith had a big touchdown in that aerial assault launched by the Tiger Cats last week. 3rd-year man. We talked about those receivers from Guelph, all of whom, quite frankly, were drafted later than they should have been.
Yes.
Keandre suggests he knows the names of everyone drafted ahead of him and is keeping score.
Bo Levi Mitchell, quick game, Shamar Bridges, they get the first down, cross the 55. And with 1:47 remaining in this first half, they'll go back to the line of scrimmage. Yeah, Keandre Smith told us that he knows all the names. We said, can you name them? He said, I'm not going to give those people any love or attention today. This is about this interview right now in this game against the Montreal Alouettes.
Yes, sir.
Very focused individual, extremely driven was how Bo Levi Mitchell explained him to us. And I wonder if he might get a target here the end of the first half down the field as the Hamilton offense tries to score their first points of the ball game. They'll empty it out. They'll go with a little tunnel screen. Stephen Dunbar Jr. makes the grab. Big pop flying out from linebacker. That's Jeffrey Canton-Arcou, who laid the stick on Dunbar.
Yeah, I love the rookie season Jeffrey Canton-Arcou is having here for the Montreal Alouettes. Highly productive. Dunbar, you know, you run that slip screen, you're just looking for a lane. But every time you dodge sort of one more blocker inside, you're getting closer and closer to the fire.
At some point, you got to head for the escarpment. Otherwise, the cavalry's coming. This is picked. Right over the middle, intercepted. It's Bryce Cosby looking for Tim White. And miscommunication as Bo Levi Mitchell threw it directly into the chest of Cosby. And what went wrong here, Dwayne?
Yeah, well, the Montreal Alouettes moving defenders around as they do. Cosby, usually the nickel linebacker, is dropped back as a safety, and it seems that Bo didn't recognize that he was back there. The way he threw that ball seems that he just didn't see him. And Cosby, the topic of Alouette defenders having terrific rookie seasons. Former teammate of Walter Fletcher at Ball State. Continuing to make his presence felt here.
Well, Davis Alexander, fresh lease on life with a 1st and 10 run inside. A lot of pushing and shoving at the end of plays here between these two lines. I don't know if it's the Dylan Wynn factor or the Nick Usher factor or what it is, but they've been getting into it at the end of plays, as you would expect with a team. Hamilton, 2 straight victories coming into tonight, playing at home, fired up, trying to send a message to a Montreal Alouettes club that's 6-1 and trying to continue their winning ways on the road. Lots to play for in the East Division here in Hamilton tonight. Over the top, Tyson Philpott fighting back to the football. They'll throw the flag. Defensive pass interference, and it's an all-Canadian matchup. Panabaker, Philpott, and a huge flip of field position.
Yeah,
defensive pass interference. Hamilton, number 24. Automatic first down at the point of the infraction.
Panabaker did a decent job getting into position and staying with the receiver. You'll see him, watch him try to get his head around here at the tail end, but unable to, and as a result, sort of runs through Philpott, who's trying to slow down to adjust to the football.
Tiger Cats averaging 8.4 penalties per game, worst in the CFL. They've been better the last couple of weeks in their victories, but that one a 45-yard penalty. And Davis Alexander takes the snap from the 25, shuffles around the pocket, pressure on, gets it away somehow, and Cole Speaker takes the ground. That's the third time tonight Davis Alexander has lost his helmet, by the way, as it pops off once again.
And a little bit of damage to the lid done this time. Dwayne Hendricks coming from that left side led the charge in collapsing the pocket. That time Alexander pulls a bit of a Houdini to get this pass away.
And Caleb Evans was coming off the sideline as it looked like he was going to have to come onto the field. The damage to Alexander's helmet. He was pointing at the sideline. The equipment staff from Montreal, I'm looking down from the booth here, they didn't run and grab a backup helmet, so Alexander just threw it on. Play clock's down to 2. 1, he gets the snap off somehow, and underneath, Kenneth George Jr. almost had his second interception, and that was rushed from start to finish because they weren't sure who was going to be playing quarterback on that snap.
Yeah, I suspect the headset, maybe part of what was damaged on that one, the way that Alexander pointed to the lid as he went off. But yeah, Kenneth George Jr. with that ball thrown just a little behind the intended target. Nearly had his second theft of the evening.
Ozima, 6 of 8 on the year. From inside 40 yards, 5 of 6 so far this season. Smooth through the uprights, and the Alouettes take their first lead of this ball game. As halftime coming up, they'll have to take off all the striping right there. As we got Laura Dyken back in the studio, Milt Stiegel, Matt Dunnigan, and Jim Barker as well get set to tear into this first half, talk it through, tee up some more great games coming up for you across the Canadian Football League this weekend. And a beautiful night here in Hamilton, but Scott Milanovich, I'm sure frustrated with the offensive production. The only points on the board for Hamilton, the Kenneth George Jr. pick 6 out of the right hand of Davis Alexander.
Well, defensive touchdown was part of the formula for success in Hamilton breaking their 5-game losing streak to start this season.
Buck, come on!
Defense and special teams kind of setting the tone a couple weeks ago as they got win number 1 against the Argos before turning it into a win streak last week against Edmonton.
Kind of has the feeling that this is going to be a very busy halftime for Bo Levi Mitchell and Scott Milanovich, doesn't it? You throw an interception, a little miscommunication with Tim White to end the half. You got to come out, kneel it down, and head down the tunnel. And I think there'll be some straightforward conversations happening in that Hamilton locker room.
Yeah, either a lot of words or not a lot of words. But there's no middle ground the way that opening half went.
Davis Alexander finding the laces in his first career CFL start and ripped it over the top. In between coverage, Charleston Rambo. What a great play going up to get it. As we head down to Matthew Shinetti with Charleston Rambo.
Charleston, we're certainly seeing your capabilities here in this
opportunity to get a stop as former Cat Sean Thomas Erlington stands back. The coin toss, Montreal 1 deferred. They'll take the football here to start the second as James Letcher Jr. makes a move. Carthel Flowers Lloyd finishes him off. Special teams tackler extraordinaire, and out comes Davis Alexander.
Let's go!
After that first half, picking his way around the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense, for the most part, outside of the pick six.
Well, yeah, ups and downs for the young quarterback, but has his team in a pretty good position, which is a big part of the evaluation here. 10-7 lead after the opening 30. And of course, the touchdown pass, the biggest highlight for the third-year QB out of Portland State.
Polisi's been thinking about this moment for a long time, getting a start in professional football. Wants to make the most of it. He'll begin with a completion. Tyson Philpott crosses the 50 and rolls his way out to the 54-yard line. Simple pitch and catch, but effective, and a nice chunk on first down.
Well, easy to have a little bit of chemistry between these two guys if you watch Philpott coming across the formation. And trying to lose the defender, Talbert, who's got a bubble over the top of everyone in the box, basically trying to track Philpott. He loses his angle, which allows those yards after catch to happen.
Goes for a gain of 19 yards. As they'll go quick screen here, incomplete. Trying to get it into the hands of Cole Speaker, but the biggest touchdown of Tyson Philpott's career, hoping that it's going to not be the biggest by the end of his career, but on this field, into that end zone, what a memory this is.
Grey Cup winner, Cody Fajardo to Tyson Philpott last November.
When we had the Calgary-Montreal game, the Philpott brother matchup a couple weeks ago, I said, let's slap you out there, Tyson, into the end zone. The Grey Cup winner goes, you know what? Been thinking about that. Jalen's been bothering me that it wasn't the nicest. Who cares? Grey Cup winner. As Alexander rolls to his right away from pressure, and then they get him. Kyle Wilson will get credit for the sack on 2nd and 10. It's a loss of 7 yards.
Yeah. Kyle Wilson's like a shark smelling blood on this play as Davis Alexander scrambling around the backfield. The Ticat linebacker. You'll see him deep in coverage to start. But once he sees Alexander scrambling around, watch him just come downhill on a beeline. Showing off his jets to make the play.
Nick Usher just folding the pocket in from the other side as well. Doesn't get a stat on the play, but a huge influence. As now Harris will catch it at his own 20-yard line. A 44-yard punt. Looks like a no yards flag is down as well. And out to the sideline before being wrapped up by the fullback David Dallaire. As Bo Levi Mitchell, 15 of 20 in that first half, 115 yards. No touch defense, first in points allowed against, just 21.7. It's because of plays like this. Pressure all first half on Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, giving you different looks, people coming from different locations, but the end result is the same. All kinds of heat impacting the performance of Bo Levi Mitchell.
A lot of pressure from Wesley Sutton. You saw Bryce Cosby making a play. The name we haven't said much, Marc-Antoine Dequoy. Is Hamilton just doing anything to avoid Dequoy at this point? We'll find out in the second half as Mitchell looks out to his right, completes it as Robinson gets pushed out of bounds, gain of about 7 yards. Tyrese Beverett there on the spot, and Dequoy, the top-rated player by Pro Football Focus in the month of July when it comes to defenders. And Bo Levi Mitchell said coming into this game, yeah, we basically have to know where he is every single snap when I leave the huddle.
Yeah, and this is part of the challenge with the Montreal defense is you get a lot of people lining up in what you might deem as unorthodox spots given what their positional label is.
Offside!
Mass motion and basic inside run. A lot of window dressing for a downhill power run from James Butler. First down, Hamilton.
I love the misdirection up front on this one. Going to see that Ticats are going to get some flow going this way and then just send their running back Butler up the middle. Bringing Shamar Bridges as the one receiver coming back to try to seal the backside on that one.
Mitchell getting some help in the running game. Now we'll try to screen it outside Keandre Smith. 1-on-3. Najee Murray, the first man there, brings him down. As they'll mark it for a gain of 5 yards. And Northorpe continues to mix and match his defensive calls here, trying to confuse Bo Levi Mitchell, especially on 2nd and long.
And here you see some of the numbers, performance-wise, for the Montreal Alouettes so far this season. Number that matters most. Best in the league at a whole lot of stuff.
Mitchell looks to his right, back to his left, stands in, has forever. Pressure on, flips it into traffic, and it's intercepted. Did they get underneath it? Tyrese Beverett has his hands on the football. And did Mitchell just toss up another floater into the arms of a Montreal defender? If it stands, it'll be the 2nd interception of the season for Tyrese Beverett.
Yeah, it looks like that one's on the ground. Tyrese had one of these last week as well, an almost interception.
Tyrese Beverett, dynamic playmaker, top graded against the run for this Alouettes defense.
Right here we'll take another look at the play moments ago. The almost interception by Tyrese Beverett. And you'll see in close that ball trapped on the ground.
Upon review by the command center, the ruling on the field is overturned to an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd down.
Bo Levi Mitchell avoids his 2nd interception of the ballgame. Regardless, just a real difficult decision by Bo, throwing it into traffic once again. Crossbody rolling away. Had all day to throw, and Northorpe in this defense doing what they've done to so many quarterbacks throughout this season, holding them to really, really difficult pass efficiency ratings. Montreal's defense, 80.4, the passer rating against, best in the Canadian Football League to go with so many of their other statistics of dominance. As Constantino will boot this one away, a little crossbody hook, and sends it into the end zone. James Letcher Jr. will go back into his end zone and takes the knee.
Perhaps not the swing and field position that Hamilton was looking for.
A single on as we take a look at Kenneth George Jr. When Montreal was backed up earlier on, driving on the Cole Speaker pass target and making the best of things.
Yeah, Hamilton's biggest play of this ball game, without question, Kenneth George Jr. coming up with that pick 6 in the first half. Remains the only Hamilton major so far. A Hamilton offense that has been terrific so far this season. Again, we talked about the points they put up in Edmonton last week. But the offense unable to get it going here. A lot of added pressure on the D.
Hand it off around the edge, goes Walter Fletcher, cuts back, crosses the 55, and is out to the 44-yard line of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Just a monster rush on 1st down. It goes for 26 yards.
Yeah, Walter Fletcher going to work from the backfield. You see him lined up to the right of his quarterback, Davis Alexander. And bend it around the corner. Nice kick out block there by Lestage. He's going to bend it all the way back the other way. A nice pick up there for the Alouette running back.
5th rush of the season for the Alouettes offense of 20 yards or more. That's the 2nd best in the Canadian Football League. 4 receivers to the right of Alexander. Hands it off inside once again. James Letcher Jr. It's the rare carry. Gain of 4 down to the 40.
Well, Fletcher, seen him running the rock on this series. Having a terrific year catching the ball as well. See the leading receiver among Canadian Football League running backs. James Butler came into this week 2nd, the opposing running back tonight, but Brady Oliveira jumped over him last night in Winnipeg's impressive victory against the BC Lions.
Catch it, rush it, block it. Does it all. Davis Alexander looking for Charleston Rambo. Can he get another touchdown? It dropped in, and they'll call it a major. Touchdown Alouettes. Throwing up the U for the 3rd time this season. It's Charleston Rambo.
Well, you have to appreciate what the receiver Rambo has done to help out his quarterback tonight. Tough catch in traffic for his first touchdown of the game. Here once again, pretty good coverage, but a beautiful adjustment to the ball just outside the end zone. Lets his defender overrun it. He comes back to get it and finds his way into the end zone for his second major of the evening.
I mentioned coming in Davis Alexander in that game last week on pass attempts of 20 yards or more down the field after we just saw the 26-yard rush by Walter Fletcher. Alexander was 3 of 4. Well, it's another monster down the field.
Down at the 1 yard line.
After review by the command center, the ball carrier was down with contact at the 1 yard line. The ball will be placed on the 1 yard line and a first down.
Oh, Rambo. Thinking about going back out onto the field. Wishes that was his third touchdown of the season. Just his second. They'll spot him down. Short yardage team comes out, but here's another look at it.
Yeah, and here you'll see he's got the ball, and you see the back of his head touches basically the left ankle of Kenneth George Jr. But down by contact before he was able to roll into the end zone.
Football's a funny game, huh? All that effort, no, not a touchdown.
Yeah.
Caleb Evans in at quarterback. 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. Make it 4. As the Alouettes extend their lead by way of the short yardage package, and the offensive line gets the push. Davis Alexander in his first CFL start loves it here on the road in Hamilton.
And here's a great look down the line. Watch the surge from the Alouette offensive line. Philippe Gagnon leading the way. Davis Alexander likes what he sees from that short yardage unit finishing off the drive for him.
I mentioned the Alouettes averaging a little over 3 big plays per game. That's either a 20-yard rush or a 30-yard pass. They had 14 big pass plays coming in, second to only the BC Lions and Vernon Adams Jr.'s explosive passing attack there on the West Coast. Well, that drive was 4 plays, 70 yards in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Thanks to another explosive run, followed up by an explosive pass. And the Alouettes, without Cody Fajardo, continue to push the football down the field. They spotted this one just shy, but what an effort by Charleston Rambo. 17-8, Al's lead on the road coming in, but it's been the Rambo show here in Hamilton tonight. Smooth route running, great hands, a couple explosive plays, including this one, the big catch earlier that was his first touchdown. Thought this was his second, but regardless, Charleston is putting in work.
Yeah, terrific night for him. You mentioned a little more opportunity for him to get involved in this offense with one of the key receivers, Keon Julian Grant, out of the lineup on the 6th week.
Short kick this time. Drops down to Harris at the 20. Great special teams effort here from Titus Wall, who turns Harris around, and he'll actually end up right where he started after getting forced back. Excellent coverage down the field by the Montreal Alouettes, and Bo Levi Mitchell hits the field with still no offensive points to score, trying to get into a rhythm. An interception that was wiped out after hitting the turf by Tyrese Beverett on the last drive.
Yeah, and the Tiger Cats really need to find a way to overcome the pressure being thrown at them. Some of the looks from the Montreal Alouettes, and part of that will involve, as you see, James Butler in the run game.
One of the things Scott Milanovich said this week was there's a lot of times when they don't have enough guys in the box to stop the run. That's why they're so good against the pass. Well, they're trying to take advantage of that here in the third.
Keep an eye middle of your screen, middle linebacker. Darnell Sankey. Eyes on the running back, shuffle, track the play, meet the running back in the hole. That's why they went out and got this guy last season.
Doesn't it feel like sometimes Darnell Sankey equates to 2 people in the running game, though? It's like you got 5 people in the box, but the 5th one's Darnell. Well, that makes the numbers feel a little bit different as they'll hand it off inside once again, taking their turns, getting stops. Derek Wiggin in there alongside Sankey, Mustafa Johnson. And this Montreal run defense. One of the few things people have pointed to throughout this week is Antonio Moultrie right there at the bottom of the pile as well, saying, well, they might have a weakness here. It might be the run defense. Well, the statistics are misleading on that one because a lot of teams just running the football because they can't throw it against Montreal.
Yeah, and recognize the situation in which the ball is being run. And if that's basically something at that time in the game that Montreal is willing to concede.
As Litre met right at the peak of the mountain by Darnell Sankey, getting pulled backwards as well by Avery Ellis. And they will move the chains, but man, Darnell Sankey continues to make plays down after down, and he knows it.
A couple of former Calgary Stampeder teammates. Sankey tucked in behind the line. He's going over the top to meet Litre.
Well, Davis Alexander's dad has a history in rugby, South Africa and England. I mean, that was as much a scrum ruck as you'll find as Mitchell looks to his right. Stephen Dunbar Jr. on first down. Looks like he's got a gain of 8. Keeping an Ento right there on the coverage.
You see Dunbar coming from out wide. Just going to work this one across the middle. Get the ball to him before Ento can get downhill. A little bit of quick game from Bo Levi Mitchell again. Try and get the ball out, high percentage passes before the defense can get to him.
That seemed real slow at the line of scrimmage, and did they have a time count violation?
Illegal procedure, Hamilton, number 53, 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Well, second time that Brendan Bordner has taken a penalty in procedure here, but on 2nd and 2, it all of a sudden creates 2nd and 7, which is exactly where the Montreal defense thrives, only allowing 26% conversion on 2nd and 7 plus.
Yeah, a couple of tough calls against the young offensive lineman, who's definitely shown some progress here this season, starting as a raw rookie.
Ben Mitchell working the line of scrimmage. Offensive line trying to sort out where to send protection with David Beard at center. They drop out, only rush 4. Mitchell underneath, gets it out. Keandre Smith, a lot of work to do. Runs back into the middle of the pile. And the physicality of the Alouettes defense on full display there. Flag comes out at the end of the play. And did somebody from Montreal just give back the yardage and an automatic first down?
Objectionable conduct, Montreal, number 98, 10-yard penalty that will result in a first down.
The tail end of this play, the former Ticat, Dylan Wynn, he's the guy sort of down on the ground over top of Keandre Smith, just swatting the ball away to the displeasure of the officials.
And all that work goes for naught to get off the field. As Wynn sits this one out. And under center, Bo Levi Mitchell, the rare under center snap in the CFL. All sorts of time for Bo, fading to the right sideline. And once again, can't find anyone, and Bo's just not seeing it all that well right now as the Bluebirds come out in Hamilton, throwing it away with all that time. But this is what Noel Thorpe does to quarterbacks.
We'll take a look here as Bo rolls to the right, misdirection as they fake the toss. But there you see more defenders than receivers. The two receivers end up able to spit in the same bucket over there. They're so close to each other.
Well, emptied out for now. 3-by-3. Keandre Smith checks in. Pass protection. Coming around the top was Bevrant. Couldn't get there. They look for Tim White on the corner route. And it's incomplete. Knocked away. Najee Murray punches it away. And the punting unit comes out for Hamilton. As the Montreal defense, dominant in so many different ways here in this 2024 CFL season, continues to put it on display in the third quarter.
Yeah, you'll see White coming out of the slot, inside slot. He's number 3 receiver on this play. And because Bo Levi Mitchell has to kind of float this one to get it over Murray, but in front of Dequoy, that hang time on the ball allows Murray time to get back there and make a play as White is waiting for it.
Nick Constantino, again a high boot, drops down to James Letcher. As a 37-yard punt will be returned out to the 40-yard line. As Matthew Shinetti has more on Scott Milanovic and Jason Moss when we return to Hamilton as the Alouettes.
Milanovic quite liked that call on 3rd and 5 with 39 seconds left. That long pass from Cody Fajardo, Cole Speaker, that set up that Tyson Philpott winning touchdown. And then remembering the things that matter, Milanovic really enjoyed watching Jason Moss celebrate with his young son Bear. That influential coaching staff still continuing their legacy today, Marsh.
Love it, yeah. It was great hearing Scott Milanovic say, I'm hard on the quarterbacks because they deserve it. So when we talked to Jason Moss, I said, so was he hard on the quarterback coaches? 2012 with the Argos? He said, hey, he gave us everything we needed. Little shovel underneath. Walter Fletcher crosses midfield down just shy of the 50-yard line. Is the creativity and play calling of Jason Moss on display there. Show a little run, flip it back underneath.
Yeah, and the kind of play that we always refer to as an extension of the run game, right? This shovel pass underneath. Alexander isolates the defensive end, Usher, by drawing him outside, threatening the edge, opening up the hole for Fletcher to take it north-south.
And adds to the Walter Fletcher receiving statistics in this 2024 season. Week number 9 already, hard to believe. Alexander rolls to his right, looks back to his left, throws it over the top, and he had Rambo open. And he got hit as he was releasing it, so Alexander shakes his head on that one because he knows 14 could still be running.
You see Rambo works all the way across here, but watch Alexander, the quarterback, as he goes to throw this one. Just had a defender step into him. He couldn't really step into the throw. Impacts the accuracy. That one falls harmlessly to the turf.
2nd and 10. Big play for the Hamilton defense here, trying to get off the field. They'll blitz. Kenneth George Jr. And it's a screen underneath. Jesrin Antwi makes the grab, but a minimal gain on the play. So Mark Washington, defensive coordinator for the Tiger Cats, decides on 2nd and 10. You know what? I've seen my quarterback be frustrated all night by a defensive coordinator getting aggressive. How about my turn?
And you'll see George come from the right side of your screen with the secondary blitz. They managed to get that screen away, but terrific play by Jonathan Moxey, rather. Nickel linebacker immediately there to fill.
Joseph Zima kicks it away. Devon Harris stands back at his own 10-yard line. Shimmies up to the 12. Flag comes down after a 38-yard punt. And the return will go out to the 18-yard line. Add a little bit more onto that. If it is indeed no yards, it is.
Montreal number 20. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And after just getting the screen catch on special teams, Jesrin Antwi takes the penalty on no yards. As a Canadian, you can see the displeasure from Jason Moss.
Yeah, not sure if his argument was that his coverage player was pushed into that 5-yard restraining area, which would, of course, negate the penalty.
Antwi battling on special teams here tonight for all 4 quarters. About to end the third. Bo Levi Mitchell in the offense. Play action over the middle. Mitchell checks it down. James Butler catches it, heads towards the first down marker, gets popped out of bounds. Completion and a solid gain. Butler getting used more and more in the passing attack here as an outlet for Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, and sometimes they may have to just settle, quite frankly, and get the ball to Butler a little more quickly if the defense is going to drop off. Take away Bo's higher priority reads. let James Butler go to work.
2nd and 1. Deep in the 3rd quarter, under center. Turns around, hands it off, and Butler, no movement against that Montreal front as Jordan Murray has his helmet pop off behind the play at the end. That's 17-8 in the run game. Not creating the push that Scott Milanovich has been hoping for here tonight.
Montreal defensive line certainly winning that last matchup. Pretty good interior rotation. Talk about the veterans. Derek Wiggins.
Major foul, misconduct, 15-yard, Montreal number 99. First down.
Antonio Moultrie, one flagged there. As you see the end of the play at the top of your screen, he and Jordan Murray going into it.
Yeah, left hand just rips Murray's helmet off.
So some free field position here for the Tiger Cats after the no yards and now the face mask. Completion to Butler, but being helped by penalty yardage. Another check down. Butler, and the patience of Bo Levi Mitchell all of a sudden coming to the fore is once again, when the pads pop, number 1 is close. Darnell Sankey, another big tackle in the open field. The Montreal defense been getting it done through 3 quarters. Can Hamilton find an answer and continue their winning streak, or will Montreal continue their winning ways on the road? The one that really matters here is Davis Alexander in his first CFL start, stepping in, replacing Caleb Evans, who's starting in place of Cody Fajardo, who's not expected to be back until maybe next week. He's leading the way right now against Bo Levi Mitchell, who has a historic pace when it comes to passing yardage this season. But here tonight, it's been a struggle.
Yeah, it has. Credit the Montreal defense making life difficult. We've seen a couple of bad decisions from Bo, and I think that speaks volumes to what the Montreal defense does. That a guy who's been around the league for 12 years, had huge success against everybody over the course of his career, is still being impacted by the pressure. And, you know, in Bo's case, I would almost label it as being frustrated into making mistakes, that he just wants to make something happen.
Yeah. And you can also see that maybe there's been a conversation on the sideline with him being told, hey, yeah, James Butler is your check down guy. If that's all they're going to give you, take it. He's done that a couple times already on this drive. Here he hands it off to Butler, and right through the chute down to the 40, but a flag comes out. And will they? Yeah, they'll tag Hamilton for holding.
Yeah, there was a great hold there, but
Hamilton number 64, 10-yard penalty, will replay second down.
Something they struggled with early in games, early this season when they were 0-5, penalties that set them into bad downs and distances.
And here you'll see the right guard, Coulter Woodmansey. Watch the left arm as he gets into the block. I believe it was Dylan Wynn over the nose. Kind of wrestles him down.
Woodmansey turned 27 years young yesterday. First round pick out of Guelph. Talking about all those receivers. As now Mitchell over the top for Luther Hawken. And Vanu intercepted! Kavian Ento robbed it over the top just like he did in the Grey Cup on this field. And the Alouettes defense continues to make impact plays as Bo Levi Mitchell is intercepted once again.
Yeah, this is just a great defensive play by Ento. Bo thinks he's got Hakanavanu going down the rail, but reaction time, break on the ball by the corner Ento to come get this one. This tremendous play starts off on the outside. One that if Bo had back, maybe leads Hakanavanu a little more vertically down the field.
Ento's length, he just lives for those moments he can fall off from his field corner spot. and make a play like that as the Hamilton defense trying to do anything they can to get this team into a better situation with field position as Nick Usher makes a big tackle on that play for no gain.
As you see Ento over on that Montreal sideline. You know, obviously a lot of talk about the additions during last season of Sean Lemon and Darnell Sankey to that Montreal D, and those were obviously very significant, but also internally. You know, Reggie Stubblefield took over as the nickel linebacker. Ento took over at the field corner. First-year players had huge impact. Ento continuing to do so here this season.
Alexander with time finds Rambo, big collision, but at the 50-yard line, Rambo holds on as he was one-on-one with Destin Talbert, and Rambo wins that battle to move the sticks.
Yeah, watch the job Rambo does protecting the football as it's in the air, and I think this has been one of the big things when we talk about his value in this game with the youngster Davis Alexander starting, is some of the plays that he has made for his quarterback, helping out his quarterback. Going and getting balls in traffic, etc.
All the changes made on defense. How about Austin Mack last year in for the Alouettes? Moves on to the National Football League. And at that boundary wide receiver spot, Charleston Rambo steps in this season. As Alexander looks his way again, now goes second level. Completes this one. Big catch and run as Tyson Philpott is free. Now wrapped up and brought down as Jamal Peters will be the one to finish it off. But Tyson Philpott heading towards that end zone once again. He scored his touchdown in the Grey Cup with.
Yeah, watch how Philpott on this play just goes in between levels, gets in behind the linebackers, bends off the route, breaks the route off in front of the DBs, giving Alexander an opportunity to throw it.
Alexander now over 200 yards passing on the evening in his first career start. Casey Sales flies into the backfield, tackle for loss.
I mentioned earlier the overhaul of the Ticats defensive line coming into this season. See Casey Sales just left of the goalpost. Hamilton used 13 different defensive linemen over the course of the 2023 season. The only one of them back in black and gold this year is Casey Sales after an all-star season. Incredible.
Loss of one creates second and 11 from right around where Alexander found Rambo for a touchdown earlier on. Looks to his left, Reggie White Jr., and this one should have been intercepted. The same play that Kavian Ento just made for the Alouettes, falling off and getting the pick. Hamilton couldn't do it.
Yeah, in a moment where the Tiger Cats needed that, a chance to blank the Alouettes on this drive. I think that basically the two defenders crossing paths there, Moxie and Leonard, distracted each other from being able to pick off that football. It falls to the turf, and now the chance to put three up on the board still remains for Montreal.
The only touchdown in this ball game, again, the Kenneth George Jr. pick six off Davis Alexander. Could have been his second interception, but see plays like this, it makes you realize 10 points off turnovers. There's a reason Hamilton has only had 3 interceptions this year. Just can't close the hands. 28 Alouettes. There is that man, Darnell Sankey. Wow! Right in the middle of the play. You feel him every time he's near. It is incredible how much Darnell Sankey is around the football, and it's never a mystery who hits you when he does. Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti with more.
Yeah, there's a kind of a feeling here in Tim Hortons field for Darnell Sankey. I'm actually standing on the spot where I spoke to him pregame. He was looking out at Tim Hortons field, and I had to ask him about the 110th Grey Cup, which we just referenced in that Jason Moss hit. I asked Darnell Sankey if he has a certain comfort level here in Hamilton, and he kind of looked at me and said, you know what, there's that feeling when we come here that kind of feels like home. He and I talked about that sense that Montreal seemed like they were going to win that game, and I asked him how well the Owls defense has been playing so far this season. You look at their first and the amount of yards that they allow down to down, and Darnell Sankey really has influence on that. He looked at me and said, there's comfort in being a champion too, Marshall.
I wasn't joking earlier when I said he changes the numbers game in the running game, which, you know, you can look at it and say, well, I don't have enough people. We should be able to run the ball here. Why can't we? Oh, that guy's right in the middle of the play. Got that championship feeling from being back here at Tim Hortons Field, and it's showing the way the defense is playing as a run for gain of 2 here for Hamilton. Picks up the first down. Noel Thorpe dialing it up. And he uses people in all sorts of positions, but Sankey might be the only one you could make the argument, Dwayne, at any of the 3 levels of the Montreal defense where he just goes, just do what you're great at.
Yeah, I mean, they all get moved, though. I mean, we see Sankey line up frequently on the edge as well. He plays as the weak side linebacker sometimes.
Levi Mitchell out to Shamar Bridges. Nice tackle in space that time. Deontay Ruffin playing at the boundary corner tonight.
I mean, you look at this Montreal defense, and we had a long chat with Noel Thorpe about his creative process a few weeks ago. But the bottom line with him is about putting people in position to be successful, getting guys in places where they can do the things that they do best.
Levi Mitchell on second down over the top for Hakanavanu. Big catch radius. And did he bring it down? It rolls away, incomplete. A flag is down. As Hakanavanu coming into tonight.
Defensive pass interference. Montreal number 12. Automatic first down where the infraction occurred.
Had 3 of his 6 catches since his return from injury as touchdowns, and they were trying to stretch the field once again with them.
Yeah, and Bo puts it up. Marshall, you mentioned earlier, you know, that feeling of comfort that Bo Levi Mitchell suggested he has with bigger receivers, and the gist of that being that he finds it easier to read their body language, coming in and out of their breaks, to know which way they're going, how they're seeing things, adjusting their routes, and so on.
Montreal is challenging the previous play. They believe there was no defensive pass interference on the play. The play will be reviewed.
Najee Murray against Luther Hakanavanu, taking a look at it in the command center. Al Bradbury is the replay official here this evening. Bo Levi Mitchell over the top. Any contact here? We find out. Andre Proulx, our referee, has the announcement.
Pretty clean.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field is overturned. There was no pass interference. The pass is incomplete. It will be third down, 7 yards to go from the 54-yard line.
They'll respot the rock. Dwayne, correct call based on what we saw?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at the play by Najee Murray, he did not contact the receiver before the arrival of the ball.
I could say this about a lot of the members of the Montreal secondary, but Najee Murray developed into a real nice piece being used here at field halfback for them in his 6th year at Kent State. Don't miss a lot of tackles in that secondary and makes some pretty good plays on the football as well. Forces the punt from Constantino, crushes just another beautiful kick inside the 10. Beautifully placed by Constantino that time as they'll spot the football at the 7-yard line as the Alouettes go for their 7th straight road win. Just an incredible streak at the top of this list from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers back in the early 60s. Long way to go until they get there, but Montreal, I mean, this is not insignificant. To win on the road is very difficult, and to do what they did at the end of last season and the start of this is pretty special.
Yeah, it really is, but you got a vibe from this team that started at the end of last season in terms of their togetherness. Their competitiveness is always a conversation we have with Jason Moss in the lead up to games.
Davis Alexander looks to the one-on-one route and nearly intercepted. Very similar to the Kenneth George Jr. interception from earlier. Knocked away Tyson Philpott, the intended receiver.
Yeah, Richard Leonard on the corner. Kind of reading Philpott's mail all the way on that one. Getting himself in position to make a play on the ball and very nearly stepping in front for the INT.
To the dismay of Dwayne Ford, they checked out 2 fullbacks and sent in 2 receivers.
Sacrilege.
Here on 2nd And 10. Hamilton defense might need to make another big play if they want to win this football game. Alexander from his end zone. Pressure on. Scrambles out to the left. Reloads it. Looks down the field. Toe tap. Reggie White Jr. That's a completed pass. Davis Alexander really is at his best, rolling away from pressure and throwing it down the field.
And here you see he uses his speed, collects himself enough to square his shoulders a little bit, and beautifully timed leap and toe tap by Reggie White. Clearly in bounds with control of the ball. Big first down.
Click his heels twice, but he only needs 1 foot down. He's in the middle. Sales makes another play on the run game. Reggie White Jr. 4 touchdowns, second only to Tyson Philpott, although Charleston Rambo has been catching up here tonight, which kind of fits with the theme of everybody taking their turn in this receiving core that they've really leaned on. It might be Keon Julian Grant's night when he comes back from injury, Tyson Philpott's night, any given.
I think it's been a quiet one tonight for Cole Speaker.
Yeah. Had his 100-yard game against the Argonauts a couple of weeks ago as well. Alexander on second down, over the middle, crossing route. Philpott open. And Richard Leonard grabs an ankle to slow him down, but Philpott running away for a first down.
Here you'll get a field level look. The route dragging across the formation by Philpott. Very much a shoestring tackle by the DB Richard Leonard. Got a note earlier from our friend Farhan Lalji, who's always working, by the way, that apparently Tyson Philpott and Davis Alexander played against each other in a 7-on-7 tournament in the Seattle area when they were both in high school.
Oh, Alexander just got blown up by Casey Sales, lost his helmet yet again, and a flag came out on the play, and now there'll be a conversation between the offensive line and Casey Sales in front of the bench. Alexander did not do himself any favors, rolling to his left, front shoulder open and vulnerable. He took the home run shot down the field to Tyson Philpott, and then he took a massive blow.
Yeah, he's fully exposed as he's gets himself turned, facing downfield to throw this. Casey Sales right on the left side of your screen. And in fairness, no effort to avoid the head contact on that one by the Tiger Cat player. Just ran through him helmet to helmet.
Yeah, and that's going to be some money out of the pocket of Casey Sales you'd have to expect on top of the penalty yardage to come now. Great player, physical player, but that's a tough one.
Yeah, not a guy with a reputation for that kind of play, but I think frustration kind of played a role in this decision by Casey Sales.
I'm just amazed, honestly, that Davis Alexander doesn't have a busted lip or something from all of that.
We've got a major foul, grade 2 spearing, roughing the passer. This will be a 25-yard penalty. Automatic first down on Hamilton, number 44. 25-yard penalty.
Grade 1 spearing being of, I guess, the generic variation, and grade 2 being really didn't try to not spear.
I guess that's the kind of game we don't have to play. Everybody back! Everybody back!
Well, all that's happening. Caleb Evans warming up. Quarterback who was replaced, of course, by Davis Alexander in the comeback victory last week. And you got a feeling that the physicality didn't end there with Casey Sales on Davis Alexander. took a look at the lower back and hip of Davis Alexander on the Alouettes sideline.
I mean, that was a pretty high-speed collision. Alexander with really no opportunity to protect himself.
Caleb Evans pulls the football, throws it over the top, looking for David Dallaire, catches it into the end zone. Touchdown Alouettes. And Caleb Evans comes in cold off the bench. Play action and throws a fading corner for the Major.
A well-timed play call that, as you can see, the Tiger Cats didn't see coming. The fullback, Dallaire, sneaks out of the backfield, working towards the corner. Linebacker Trevor Hoyt in chase. Couldn't get there before Dallaire finds pay dirt.
First career touchdown for David Dallaire in the Canadian Football League, making his way to the Alouettes by way of Laval. Second-round pick, 13th overall. You and I loved him at the Combine. We're ecstatic to see him go in the draft, and shows off the wheels and the hands a little bit. Hasn't been asked to do all that much in the passing game, but Dallaire into the end zone. Jason Moss is great at a lot of things as a head coach and a play caller. Might be better than anybody at the "we need a touchdown now" play call. He dials up Dallaire. Laval scoring the Major to make it 27-8. Montreal up over Hamilton. As Jose Malto sends it away to the Tiger Cats. On Harris crosses 30. Gets out to the 38-39 yard line, and just mastery here from Jason Moss as everyone's expecting a big physical blow you off the ball run.
Yeah, and I mean, this is all timing, as you said. I mean, you're going to see Dallaire line up in the tight end spot and work to the corner, but everybody's anticipating with Caleb Evans coming in this instance. Yeah, it's either going to be a physical play where, quite frankly, we're going to smack you in the mouth because you hurt our quarterback, or we're going to be conservative and run the ball with our backup quarterback coming in. Not a lot of people in the building, clearly not the Hamilton Tiger Cats, expecting the play action pass with the fullback running a corner route.
Levi Mitchell complete underneath. Shamar Bridges crosses midfield, wrapped up and brought down after a gain of 17 yards on the play for number 17.
Shamar Bridges came into this week leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats in catches. They try to get a robber a pick for him as he comes across the formation.
Blitz picked up this time. Back to Bridges they go. The quick passing attack of the Tiger Cats starting to get into rhythm a little bit as Hamilton starts to go a little bit quickly, as you'd expect, being down 27-8 with 4:18 remaining.
Yeah, 3-possession ball game. Obviously an uphill battle, not just against the Alouettes, but very much against the clock at this point.
Mitchell out of his hands quickly. Bridges, 3 straight catches, moves the sticks once again.
And the Alouette defense, knowing the time-score equation that Hamilton is dealing with here, willing to let them get some of those underneath catches inbounds that keep the clock running. They just don't want to give up anything over the top.
Max protection here. Mitchell gets it away. Receiver fell down, and it's incomplete. Somehow Dunbar almost caught that on the ground. Has lost his edge on the Tim Hortons Field turf.
I see the tail end here. Dunbar still watching the ball. Wow. Yeah, very close to making a big play from the seat of his pants.
Leaves 2nd and 10. Last time they protected with 7. This time 6 against a 4-man rush. Mitchell steps up in the pocket, loads it up. Shamar Bridges into double coverage, and incomplete. Took a shot into the end zone, but Wesley Sutton, Deontay Ruffin, hand in hand, and the Alouettes secondary stands tall.
Yeah, and this is just a play Hamilton feels they've got to take a shot at. Bit of a force, try to take advantage, though, of the height of Bridges, even though there are two defenders there. It's two smaller defenders. And you're trying to get some points on the board in a hurry.
And Hamilton takes time here to talk things over just before the 3-minute warning as Bridges catches his breath. Plenty of targets on this drive. And what will Scott Milanovic try to dial up? Always interested. Coaches in this situation as offensive play callers, do you lean on the fact that they think you're trying to go for a first down and take the home run shot, or do you actually just try to move the sticks? The design of the play often tells the story and the mentality. As Bo Levi and Mitchell breaks the huddle with 3 Canadians to the top of your screen. Keandre Smith, Luther Hakanavanu, and Tyler Turnowski in the ball game as well. They'll look that direction. Gets this pass into the waiting arms of Turnowski, and he will move the chains for a Hamilton first down.
A nice execution there by the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
So we've hit the 3-minute warning here in Hamilton. Montreal looks like they're moving to 7-1 this season. Heading to Vancouver. It's lovely this time of year to take on the Whitecaps tomorrow, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on TSN.
Sounds like the Whitecaps are playing a team of staff from a resort. Tijuana.
Do they at least get a home at home? Do the Whitecaps get to go for a trip to Mexico? Or? Well, Levi Mitchell, 1st and 10 after the Turnowski catch, looking for Hakanavanu. Hung it up and almost robbed on the backside once again. Was that Ento?
Doing what he does best. Hakanavanu going right down the seam. Once again, Ento falling off to the inside from his corner. Gets hands on this one by the look of it. But Hakanavanu able to just pry that one away.
You know how I talked about Darnell Sankey changing the math in the run game? Ento changes the math with his length and range in the passing attack as well. As Mitchell now looks down the seam, Tim White, easy mode. Oh, they've been waiting for that all night. And too much this season for the Mitchell to Tim White connection. And when it looks that easy, it makes you wonder why it doesn't happen more often. But regardless, a complete connection that time from 19 to 12.
Yeah, and beautiful execution right from the get-go. You'll see the blitz pickup happening right in front of Bo Levi Mitchell. Terrific job by Keandre Smith. One of the Ticats' leading receivers has to block on that play, picks up a blitzing Bryce Cosby, allowing his quarterback to step into that throw.
They'll go for 2 as you see the offense stay on the field. 8 plays, 71 yards in 2.5 minutes. And Bo Levi Mitchell throws a strike to Tim White. Those eyes get big on Bo Levi Mitchell. We've seen it for so long in the CFL. He sees something he likes. He is about to rip it. See what he can do here on the 2-point conversion. 0 for 3 this year are Hamilton in these situations. Make it 1 of 4. Shamar Bridges holds on and add 2 more onto the score. 27-16 with 2:41 remaining.
And keep an eye in the backfield. James Butler in there. Keandre Smith recognizing blitz, comes in from the right side. Does a great job right here. The pickup on number 30, Bryce Cosby. Terrific recognition, execution in the pickup, and on the delivery of that pass to Tim White.
Almost feels like in order to keep Ento out of the picture, they had to almost run right at him and then snap back away from him, because if you just run vertical, he'll read it and chase it down from behind. As Bo Levi Mitchell, in the roundabout history of the Canadian Football League, just past Kent Austin. Used to, of course, be the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats right here. Tim Hortons Field in all-time passing yards. Bo's up to 12.
Man, what's frightening is when you think about the career that Bo Levi Mitchell has had, and you realize he doesn't have half as many yards as Anthony Calvillo.
Well, that, and also I was thinking about Kent Austin and the Riders teams of the early 90s used to rip it. Like, it was the number of passing attempts, the passing yardage, all the rest, and the fact that Bo just passed him, he stacked it together over a long career. But anytime you're talking about being top 10, top 15 all time in CFL anything, that's pretty special stuff right there from Bo Levi Mitchell as Mark Leggio lines up the multi-pronged onside attempt. He'll go wide side, hangs it up, and Reggie White Jr. a casual catch out of bounds. 2:40 remaining, an 11-point advantage remains for the Alouettes to continue their road-winning ways. And Jamal Peters, a little hobbled after working on the onside recovery unit. And it looks like out onto the field at quarterback for the Alouettes, as Peters will need some attention, is Davis Alexander. After taking a massive shot from Casey Sales. He's in the huddle right now.
Well, certainly good to see Alexander in good enough condition to get back in the ball game. It was a whale of a collision. We'll try and get a look at what happened to Jamal Peters on that short kick.
Yeah, concern here for the prized free agent acquisition from the Argonauts.
Yeah, he's the outside guy closest to the sideline for Hamilton. And wonder if he may have caught the opponent's knee in the hip or in the thigh.
There was Isaac Adeyemi Berglund as well, who's very thick, well-built, 6'1", 242 defensive end. Well, a couple of defenders banging lower bodies, and Peters comes out on the worst end of it. Hope that's nothing serious, as he thoroughly enjoyed playing against his former club, the Argonauts, back here a couple of weeks ago when Hamilton beat Toronto. And obviously Peters would love to be involved in the Labor Day Classic, which is what feels like just a few short weeks away. Plenty of football before we get there, but they'll have to get carried off the field here by Robinson and Sirman Bagayoko.
That's a tough scene to watch for a football fan in general, regardless of if you're cheering for the Cats. Jamal Peters, recognized as one of the top corners in the Canadian Football League.
And look at this guy, big smile leaving the huddle for Davis Alexander. Back on the field, 11-point game, hands it off. And down the left side, one of the great value picks of the last 10 years in the CFL, Sean Thomas Erlington, by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Back into the game, back here in Hamilton. 8th round, 66th overall in 2017. And free agency decided to hop back home, the former Montreal Caravan.
Yeah, guy made plenty of starts for the Ticats at running back over the course of his career in black and gold.
Remember when June Jones was here as the head coach that I actually asked him about Sean getting signed in December, very early in December one year, and I said it's usually when you prioritize the guys you really don't want to lose that you sign somebody that early. He said, yeah, I went back and watched the film as soon as the season was done. I said, get this done, get this guy back here. Every time he touches the football, good things happen. As now Alexander looks for Cole Speaker into the Alouettes bench. And did he hang on to that? Speaker believes he caught it. If he did, it's a heck of an effort. You very rarely see a receiver catch the football and end up all the way into the benches. The amount of momentum Speaker carried. Ball, toe.
Yeah, left foot just inside.
Legal contact on the receiver, Hamilton number 17. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play is greater. First down, Montreal.
Foot in on the left side of your screen. Very nervous ball boy on the right side of your screen. Big bodies coming at him at a high speed.
Talbert did everything he could to rip that thing out as well, and Speaker did well to hang on to it, so it's a first down at the Hamilton 26-yard line. Alexander pulls it on the run fake, looks downfield, he's got room to run. Alexander to the 10 and slides down, taking a seat after collecting the first down. Thought he was going to run for the major there to end things off, make Papa proud back home. Former rugby star.
Yeah, he'd rather make head coach proud and protect himself right now. Dad knows how Davis feels about him.
Well, what was it that Matthew Shinetti told us earlier that his dad says? Matt, he said, be safe, be smart. Well, that slide fits.
Yeah.
Maybe listening to coach and dad with a solid night in his first CFL start and looking to salt one away. Get the victory here is Caleb Evans. Checks in now that they're deep inside the score zone for the Alouettes. Once again, and a little naked boot this time. It's a race to the cone against Robert Panabaker. And Evans rolls his way down, and now Evans is grabbing at his right knee. And did he just hurt himself trying to throw the brakes on and cut back? I hope that's nothing serious.
It certainly looks like the injury occurs before any contact. Yeah, you could see him kind of hopping after you'll see him make the juke here, and before Panabaker gets there, you see him start kind of hopping, favoring that leg.
Yeah.
Just a fluke non-contact injury here for Caleb Evans.
And just sick to your stomach if you're Davis Alexander's. Cody Fajardo down with the hamstring injury, looking to come back sooner rather than later, but Alexander stepping in for Caleb Evans last week in the comeback victory. And now you see
James Morgan,
the first year out of Florida International, getting warmed up as we believe Alexander likely done for the night after taking that seat on the scramble. So that means that Morgan will check into the ball game.
Yeah, I saw Morgan play in the preseason, played most of that Montreal's last preseason game against Ottawa this year. Definitely a guy who's got some tools. Big pivot. It was interesting watching him out on the field before this ball game, warming up with Davis Alexander as he kind of towers over Alexander.
And we had a good conversation with, there you see General Manager Danny Machocha before the game about some of his Canadian talent, and great to see Caleb Evans onto his feet, but he will expect plenty of assistance to make his way back to the sideline. But Machocha might be busy trying to find out where he can get himself a quarterback into practice this week, unfortunately.
Always a tough scene. But Davis Alexander back into the ball game. You think he will aim to finish this one as conservatively as possible?
Well, never say never based on Jason Moss play calling and Davis Alexander. Forever the gamer, as we've been told throughout this week leading up to tonight. Loves competition, loves big moments. 11-point game, inside 2 minutes remaining. Let's see what they choose to go with. Alexander hands it off, cutting back, left side, towards the end zone. And did they call touchdown? Well, flags there at the end of the play. There were no signals. It certainly looked like a touchdown.
Well, Alouettes are celebrating while he gets a touchdown.
There are 2 misconduct fouls after the play. Objectionable conduct, 10-yard penalty on Montreal number 65. Major foul, misconduct, UR, Hamilton number 15.
It looks like a major certainly is Donovan and Kyle Wilson from Montreal and Hamilton respectively. Hit the flags at the end.
Yeah, I see Wilson sort of at the bottom of your screen. Tackles Donovan. Like Wilson had been in on the tackle on Fletcher going over the goal line.
Yeah, it's just a lot of frustration from a Hamilton defense that's allowed more than 30 points once again here tonight. They did so in 4 of their first 5 games when they began 0-5.
Difference applied on the kickoff.
And the offense stays out on the field with 1:42 remaining. Davis Alexander, fade ball, back shoulder, Reggie White Jr. incomplete. Great play that time by DQ Thomas.
DQ Thomas brings that one up. Hamilton would come with Montreal 142 left in the fourth quarter. Montreal Alouettes 33.
Davis Alexander wishes he put a little bit more air on that one, but maybe Jason Moss, you go, why are you going for 2 there? Are you trying to rub it in, or do you want to, up the score, the season series, the point differential? I got a feeling that was just trying to get his quarterback one more throw, no?
Could be. I mean, your guess is as good as mine as the former quarterback in the booth.
Appreciate you, cousin. Hey, family right here. Turn around, bro.
Safe throw, catch and release on a fade, I guess might be the mentality, but
yeah, maybe a feeling that there's less risk of in the list of things that can go wrong. Less likelihood that you're going to see that one going the other way for Hamilton points doing that.
The offensive line celebrating Walter Fletcher on another fantastic night on the road as the road winning streak continues for the Alouettes. Their only loss so far this season at home to the Toronto Argonauts. And Toronto in action against the Calgary Stampeders coming up on Sunday. But first, it'll be Edmonton and Saskatchewan coming up for you tomorrow, the CFL and TSN. Harris across the 20-yard line, trying to go to the wide side as Antwi tries to turn him back in, and Jeffrey Canton-Arcou, the 2024 draft pick, makes the play at the end. Deontay Knight separates himself, and Taylor Powell checks into the ball game, meaning Bo Levi Mitchell's week number 9 is officially complete.
Powell with only 1 pass attempt so far this season. Young man who made a number of starts for Hamilton last year with injuries to Bo and Matthew Schultz as well.
Had a busy year, but Bo has been healthy this season, so Taylor's been waiting in the wings, flips it out here to James Butler, who digs in and picks up a gain of 2 or 3 on the play. But for the Alouettes, I mean, their formula is fully intact. When you see even late in the game, Gabianento rallying, making the tackle, pushing Butler out of bounds. And I guess the question a lot of people around the East are going to start asking here, Dwayne, is how do you beat them more consistently? We saw what Toronto did, able to get the victory in Montreal, which is incredibly difficult based on how great the fans are there at Percival Molson as of late. As Powell rips it underneath to Keandre Smith, and he'll be tackled right around that first down marker, and they'll call it first down, but Jason Moss and the Alouettes roll on.
And There's no question when you talk about the formula for beating the Alouettes that obviously it involves contributions from all three phases.
Yeah.
You think back to the Toronto win and defensive touchdown in that ball game. Special teams touchdown as well.
Yeah, I guess if you want to beat Montreal, you obviously got to create pressure. You got to be able to get something out of your running game to set the tone. And you might need a Janarian Grant.
Well, and quite honestly, a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
Right? Some bounces, some good fortune, and maybe catching them when they're kind of on the limp, just trying to make it to their bye week.
Terry Beverett told us earlier this season, our best is better than anybody else's best. And I think that's been shown through the start of the season. Nice run that time down the middle from James Butler as we get set to see Trey Ford as well in action with Edmonton and Saskatchewan. Excited to see what the former Waterloo Warrior can do. And a tough place to play.
Yeah, well, Trey Ford adding a different dimension to the Edmonton Elks attack. We saw it last year. We saw it last week.
Obviously rips it underneath to Dunbar and complete just shy of the 30-yard line. What do you think is the biggest challenge for Trey in that game? The expectation, the defense from Saskatchewan?
Yeah, I think the expectation may be the very fair assessment of it, right? Is I think a little bit too much of a savior aura has been created here. Trey Ford is a very good football player, good quarterback in the CFL. So is McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Different players, obviously. Different guys to prepare for. But, you know, they have a quarterback that for most of this season has played pretty well for them, and they haven't been able to find their way into the win column.
Well, maybe bigger issues at hand there, that trying to use Trey as the one that can help fix many of them. We'll see how he does, but excited to see a Canadian quarterback get big reps in a big moment as Taylor Powell sidearms this one underneath. And Butler takes a seat, tired of getting popped after so many catches throughout the evening. And 33-16, Montreal gets the victory here in Hamilton as Jason Moss and the Alouettes continue their road winning ways. Handshake between the two former teammates with the Toronto Argonauts, Scott Milanovich and Jason Moss.